Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be DIYing a raised garden bed using cedar fence pickets. To start off, I'm just using my miter saw to cut off the ends of the fence pickets that curve in, and I'll repeat this process for 4 of the cedar fence pickets, and they'll be a little less than 6 feet long. Right here, I'm just laying one of the boards that I've already cut onto another one to make sure they're all the same length. After I had the longer pieces cut for the length of the raised bed, I then went ahead and cut the boards that would be used for the width, and mine are going to be about 28 inches long. So in total for the frame of the cedar beds, I used 6 total fence pickets. I stacked 2 of the fence pieces together so I could get a measurement for how long I needed my braces to be, and my measurements came out to 10 7/8 of an inch. After getting the measurements, I'm now cutting the 2x3x8 cedar fence posts down to the size I needed, and then I'm just using one of the pieces that I already cut as a template for the others. After I had all my pieces cut, I went ahead and sanded everything down with 220 grit sandpaper. To make my end pieces, I first started off by clamping the 2 fence boards together to make sure I had as small of a gap as possible. And then after, I used my 2x3 posts and placed them at each end, and then pre-drilled holes just to make sure I don't cause any splitting. And then I used 1 5/8 inch screws to put it all together. I was originally going to use the 2x3 post as the brace along the outside and that be the only support, but then when it came time to put it together, I realized I wouldn't have enough space to connect the 2 corner pieces together. So then I decided just to use them on the inside, and it actually gave me enough room to connect the longer board to the end board. And then I went ahead and just used 1x2 cedar boards as the braces along the outside just for style, but it wasn't necessarily needed for support. So after realizing the 2x3 posts wouldn't work as braces for the outside of the raised bed, thankfully I had already purchased 1x2 cedar posts as backups, and so I just went back out, used my miter saw and cut those down to the length needed, and that's what I ended up just using along the outside of my raised beds. So to make the longer parts of my raised bed, which will be the front and the back, I first started off by clamping everything together just to get the gap in the middle as small as possible. And then I went ahead and measured where the center would be And then I used my 1x2 post, measured the center on that as well, and then had everything pre-drilled, placed it, and then used 1¼ inch screws to put it in place. And I just did that along the center, and I left the ends open for now. I used 1¼ inch screws here just because the width was smaller, but later on you will see that I ended up adding a 3x2 post to the back side. Just because I had them cut down, I just decided to use them on the inside. So then I was able to take those 1¼ inch screws out and then put 1 5/8 inch screws. So here's how everything's looking like so far. I did want to show you that I did pre-drill holes along both ends so that when I put everything together, it'd be a lot easier. So right here, I'm just putting everything together now. So as you can see, by putting those 2x3 braces on the inside, it gave me way more room to nail in the longer piece to the end piece, whereas before I originally wanted to have those 2x3s on the outside, which left very little room for me to connect the long piece to the end piece. So after I got the two pieces aligned where I wanted them to be, I started off by screwing in the bottom board in place. Then I took my clamped the top and bottom board together, and then went ahead and screwed in the top board. So my last step was placing the 1x2 cedar posts that I had cut down. I placed them along the ends and center of the longer boards, and then for the shorter boards, I initially just placed them along the ends, but then later on, I also went ahead and placed one along the center of the shorter boards as well. So in total, there were 12 braces along the outside. Like I said, this step is optional because we have the 2x3 post along the inside. That's enough support. I just went ahead and did braces along the outside because I like the look of it. So lastly, this step is also optional as well, but I went ahead and used my leftover 1x2 cedar post and just trimmed out the top. As you can see here, I did go ahead and add a 1x2 cedar post along the center of the shorter side because when I was trying to add the trim on top, it was kind of hard for me to connect that piece of trim to the fence. So I did go ahead and just put that post there and then screwed in and attached it there. So here's how everything's looking like. I did want to note that I did add a 2x3 post along the center in the middle just to have something for my 1x2 post, which is on the outside, to attach to. After the raised bed was complete, I added a 40-40-20 blend of compost peat moss and perlite and then installed a drip system to get it ready for planting. So to build a roughly 6 feet by 2 feet cedar raised bed, I used 6 cedar fence pickets, 4 1x2 cedar posts, and 1 2x3 cedar post for roughly $55. And then if you don't have the screws, it'll cost you an additional $10 for like a total of $65.